Welcome to Plymouth and the new Princess 75 motor yacht, which replaces the very popular 72 to slot in between the 68 and the 82 in the yard's motor yacht range. Now there are three engine options for this boat. You can either have 1,622 or 1,723 horsepower Caterpillar C32s, or you can have the top spec 1,800 horsepower MANs that we have on this boat. And what that gives you is a lot of versatile cruising, because you can do what we're doing now, which is 20 litres per hour, 8.8 knots, to give you a very comfortable slow speed cruising range, especially if you have the stabilisers engaged, or you can get up to just short of 35 knots like we did earlier on today. But for me, the real sweet spot is 1,800 RPM, 23 knots. Then this boat is super quiet, cruising along at a decent pace, but you're not using too much fuel either. At that speed, it really does feel like you could eat up the miles very comfortably. Handling is what you'd expect of a 75-foot yacht with fin stabilisers. It's not going to be out turning any ribs or anything like that, but it has got Princess's wonderfully smooth steering. It really is amazing how light the steering on a boat that's so big and so heavy is, how engaging it is. The turn isn't particularly quick, but the steering itself is wonderfully smooth and makes the boat a real joy to drive, especially when combined with these superb engines. As for the Helm Station down here, it's very clear, it's very classy, very well laid out. They are touchscreens and they're a little bit of a stretch away, so you're going to have to either lean forward or stand up to use them. But there's loads of really useful storage areas, a proper chart area, very well thought out lower helm. From the lower helm, you sit really nice and high. You've got a superb view out over the bow. You also obviously have an excellent view of the Helm Station. It's very simple, very classy, lots of nice materials, leather and dark anti-glare materials used all over the place. They are touchscreen plotters, so they're a little bit of a stretch away. You're going to have to lean forward or stand up to use them, but you can see all of the dials very clearly indeed. The only thing that I change is these slightly cheap looking air vents. When you think of the value of this boat, you think they might be able to find something a little higher quality, but everything else works very nicely. The design of the Helm Station and the surrounding area is really good up here on the flybridge. I like the fact that it's centrally located, lots of space around the helm seat and the navigator seat so people can get in and out without disturbing each other. And then either side you have seating on the fringe as well, so people can sit side on or facing forward, join the skipper and the navigator on passage and all be together when the boat's moving along. The helm position itself is very good as well. You can get nice and close to the helm up here. Everything falls to hand slightly easier than it does downstairs. The plotters are ever so slightly closer, the throttle's a bit closer to you. You really do plug into this Helm Station very nicely. The only thing I'd say though, even though they've gone to the effort of putting this perspex lip on here, it's still quite blustery when you're going along, so they could probably do with just raising that up a couple of inches or so. As for the rest of the top deck, well, it's covered by the oh so fashionable hardtop, but this one's good because it has got a soft retracting roof in it, so you can get the sun in here on nice days. And then the rest of it, well, there's very little to complain about. There's lots of space, lots of seating, big table. This is less of a wet bar, more of a proper galley up here with a griddle, fridge, everything you'd expect, really good size. And then aft you have dedicated sunbathing space as well, a really nice big comfortable double sun pad. This particular boat also has a setup with a crane and it will have some chocks so that the owner can keep the tender up here as well. It's another great living space up here on the foredeck. If you want to be completely clear of shelter from the likes of the hardtop or the cockpit, this is the place to be. It's also of course very private if you're moored stern too. And as well as being a great lounging space, you can have a table in here to dine, and also this cut through just makes it a little bit easier to get from side deck to side deck when you're crewing the boat and accessing these big lockers here either side that can hold onto the fenders and the lines. Amazingly, this is actually the 75's crew cabin, and I say that because it looks like it could be one of the main cabins sitting forward over there. It's beautifully finished, lots of wood, spacious berths, plenty of headroom, natural light, and a really nice separate ensuite with a proper separate shower cubicle as well. Now we say all the time that you may legitimately use your crew cabin as a guest cabin, but in this case I think that genuinely is what you could do. It's a nice cabin in its own right, and there's even an extra berth out there in the lobby area. And from here you can also connect via a watertight door into the engine room, so let's have a quick poke around in there. Welcome to the engine room. Now this particular one is full of the biggest MAN 1800 horsepower motors, absolute monsters they are, but even with these in here there's plenty of space to move around, lots of headroom, you can get and see around the engines very easily. Daily service, very simple, lots of artificial light. It really is a very impressive installation. You may want something slightly softer on your hands and knees instead of this checkerboard, but everything else really spot on. And if you want a quick access hatch, then there's one in the cockpit as well, so you don't have to come all the way through the crew cabin to make a quick check in the engine room. One of the 75's key attributes is that you have separate access to the master cabin and the guest cabin, so your guests sleep in 3 very spacious cabins forward and you sleep in a master cabin amidship. So let's start by having a look at that. I'm running out of superlatives for Princess's master cabins, and this one's just absolutely stunning. Totally flat floor, loads of headroom, these fantastic one-piece windows either side. Great use of materials in here as well. Leather, you've got patterned material here, wood, lacquer. Really interesting space. And this extends to the heads as well, which is almost full beam too. It's got twin sinks, lovely big shower cubicle with its own big window overlooking the water. Over here you have a desk, vanity unit. I genuinely can't see what they could have added to this cabin to make it any better. No guests are going to be complaining about their cabins on board the 75. To port you have a nice spacious twin cabin. There's a double to starboard, both of them are en suite. This is probably pick of the guest cabins though. This is the VIP up in the bows. Nice and spacious, lots of headroom, plenty of storage, fantastic en suite. And even though you haven't got a skylight because of the foredeck seating, they've got elongated ports on both sides, so there's plenty of natural light in here as well. On the 75, it's the saloon though where the real wow factor is. It's an absolutely stunning piece of design, this main deck here. Completely flat, all the way from the transom up to the companionway and helm up there. And look at the amount of natural light in here. These windows are just spectacularly big, especially this one here by the dining area, which is pretty much floor to ceiling. You can even spec a cutout in the bulwark as well, so you have an even better view out over the water. It's so tastefully designed as well, all done by Princess Design Studio. It really is absolutely spot on. And there's some lovely detailing as well. You know how normally when you want to get to storage under a sofa you have to lift up cushions and locker lids, and it's basically a real pain? Not here. Pull this out. Really handy storage. There's a couple of these under these sofas, all mounted on a soft close mechanism, and there's even more here as well. I mean, look at this. Absolutely beautiful. Place for everything. All on soft close mechanisms. Same up here with all your crockery. It's just absolutely delightful. So the midships galley arrangement is a carryover from the 72, something that worked really well on that boat and actually works really well here as well. It's very close to the dining table, so it's easy to serve food. And it's worth mentioning that the dining table actually slides out on rails as well, so that you can pull it into the middle of the saloon, give yourself a bit more space by the window. You can also partition off the galley using this sliding partition. This is something that Princess has been doing for a long time. But it is nice. It does mean that you can just pull this across, leave dirty plates, go and sit in the cockpit, forget about them. And you can also completely enclose the galley. If you're a crewed boat, you can put bulkheads up here, have a doorway, so you can totally enclose the crew if that's the way you're going to use the boat. This is one of my favourite spots on the entire boat. You sit up here, raised up with a great view out. You have the saloon cockpit and the water sprawling out in front of you. And it also means that you can easily speak to the skipper and navigator when the boat's on passage and you're up close to them for longer journeys.